Hello, Culture Matters podcast, New Year's Eve, Lollapalooza, my favorite day of the year. I am joined by my great friends. First, shout out to co-host since 5 a.m., our co-host Mike Drop Calhoun. Thank you for coming, Benny Fisher. We've got the real Brad Lea in the house, Fobby Naghmi, Anthony Mirarchi, Jenna Silverman. Just so you all know, today is my 10-year friendsversary with Anthony Mirarchi.
Ah,
The big deal.
it's been a long 10 years, Jay.
Big deal. Brad's been putting up with me since June of 2018. Benny, the first time we met was friendship at first argument. And Bobby, thank you for being a light in my life. Jenna, love you. Mr. Mike, you want to kick us off? Today we're going to look backwards at our words and forwards at our words and what we learned for the next hour. And thanks for coming.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure. We have been doing this since 5 a.m. It has been,
That's wild.
is it 13? I think it's 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have practiced 13 times to make sure that we are prepared for this session right here because we are not going to make any mistakes. Now, Mr. Brad Lea,
Yes, sir.
there's one thing I learned from you in our last conversation. Don't make the content, be the content. I have preached that in your honor throughout the day. Social media, and Jenna told me this when I first met her. Mike, you got to get on social media. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are going to find that as one of our largest leverage points. I'll let you speak to that later, Mr. Brad Lea. But Fobby, Benny, Anthony, were any of you here last year?
I think I was, yes. It was a
Okay,
blackout, but I was
Fobby,
here.
what was your word last year? Do you remember?
I honestly couldn't remember, man. I don't think I had a word. I don't think you guys asked me for a word last year.
Well, do you have a word for 2026?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
hang
I
on
thought
to
about
it.
Oh,
Hang on to it because there were individuals that were here last year. Brad, you were here last year. Do you remember your word from last year? Because Jay, I'm sure does.
I believe it was scale. I don't know.
Action.
Action.
I think his word came with the little clip, the movie clip where they drop the hammer. Action. Like, let's get to it, right? So, action, what was it? What did that mean for you, Brad, last year?
Stop planning more and start acting more. Take more action.
Just do it, right? What is your word, Brad, for 2026?
I haven't made one up yet.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I think I think maybe this year I'll do scale.
Scale. I love it. What does that mean to you, Brad?
Well, I'm gonna change my word just because I know Jay keeps notes and I'll be held accountable later down the line. So I'm gonna
You
I'm
know
gonna
him
go
well
I'm
then.
I'm gonna go with 2026 to be unrecognizable.
Oof.
Mm, got
wow.
it.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, I like unrecognizable, meaning like when 2026 ends, folks, your body, your brand, your bank account, your belief, and your backbone don't look like the same thing.
Mm.
It's unrecognizable.
Hmm.
And I
You're
presume that it's in the best of tenses.
100% unrecognizable in a good way.
Love it. Love it. Okay,
Daily
Jenna.
rules, daily rules. Number one, create, publish something every single day, create, publish. Convert one revenue generating action every single day. Condition,
Brad, you're
train.
skipping ahead. You're skipping ahead.
Oh, go for it.
You're, guys, the
This is
overachievers in the room,
interesting.
you
This
got
is so
you got to
interesting.
throttle some stuff. Jenna, what was your word? Brad, with all due respect, that was amazing, but we can't. There's a protocol, brother. Now,
You just
Jenna,
Brad, bro. You just bratted Brad.
I thought it was a group discussion. Go
I've
ahead.
never seen anything like it before.
Jenna, what was your
Yeah.
word for 2025?
2020, my word for 2025 was faith, and my word for
Do
2026 is surrender.
you want to give everybody just a little taste of what those mean to you?
Yeah, for my word was 2025 was faith. I wanted to have a better relationship with God, and I wanted to, become more of a believer and understand a little bit more about my relationship with him and you know how it all makes sense versus the science part that everybody thinks about too.
Mm.
And then surrender is, you know, letting go and not forcing the outcome and making sure that there's clarity behind the movement and there's realness behind the type of conversations that you're having, and that the communication is clear and that the intention is good and that the expectation is fulfilled.
Yeah, there's actually a scripture around dying daily to yourself so that you can be the better servant, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
beautiful, beautiful. Jay, your word, just from the reflection point, we're following protocol here. 2025 and then 2026, what was your word?
25. The theme was, well, the word was intensity. I needed to burn in my own flames so I could rise anew. Life can only be understood backwards, but must be lived forwards. Why was I saying that? In every culture puzzle, in every book, and everything, it's like because I need to move forward. I have to stop living through the past. And so this year it's love because the aspects of myself that I lost along the way or put put on the shelf to improve other to work on other aspects that have made me better. I need to tap into, and this New Year's Eve would be an expression of that. Lollapalooza is love. What is that? Well, one thing would be, bringing people together. Um, so I want to be the culture. I want to be the culture first, the best. I could give each one of you, acknowledge each of you. Actually, I will. Uh, Anthony. Oh, we met 10 years ago today. He always supported me. It's like he saw the sunshine, he appreciated it.
Amen.
Yeah. Michael, we met on July 4th of 2018, like right after I met Brad. I had a very similar prickly interaction with Michael as I did with Benny the first time we met. Brad leaned in and opened doors for me. Countless from the first time we met. Fobby, I could be here forever. He wrote a damn book basically refuting everything I said in the 30 Days of Thought. It's called Calm 30. It's the most honoring thing you could ever do because it basically is like, hey, this is where it can improve, right? It's like the dialectic. It's about not thinking too much. So he wrote the book. It's coming out. It's going to be amazing. Jenna, come on. If you know me, you know that so much of what of what I teach is like, regurgitated Jenna. So yeah, what a gift. It took a lot of intensity for me to step into or are starting to step into aspects that I lost along the way or repressed or suppressed or put in a box or, you know, no more of that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've now arrived at the 14th podcast session today, averaging 5, 6, and sometimes 7 individuals per session. That puts us at a low average of at least 70 conversations since 5 a.m. this morning. I have full confidence this is going to be the best one. Let's just review for 2026. What are the key words? And then we'll get into a few other things. But down and dirty, Benny, what is your key word for 2026? The thing that is closest, probably most representative in a concentrated format for what you want for 2026.
I would say stewardship. And probably want me to elaborate a little bit. So I would say, how do I honor God with what I've already been entrusted with? And for me, 2026 isn't really about, it's not really a rebuilding year. I would say it's not really even a grind year or maybe even a proving year. It's how do I how do I use my resources wisely? How do I how do I guide without ego?
Hmm.
Um, how do I become more of the quiet CEO whisperer in the background rather than always, I used to be the guy that was always out front, hard charging. Um, how do I have my relationships a little bit more depth? Um, Rather than have lots of relationships, why not like have a few really deep relationships this year? Um, be a lot more present than productive. I've always been a productivity guy, and I think there's a time and place for that. But I think I've learned with as I get more present with people, that actually is more productive. And it doesn't feel like that for us hard charging driven entrepreneurs, but I really feel like that's a thing. And then kind of to piggyback on with what Jenna was exploring this past year with faith, how do I trust more rather than try to do it the Benny way? Because the Benny way usually isn't the best way. And so I'm trying to shift from builder to caretaker because like for the next 40 years of my life, I'd like to be in that position. Um, so yeah, stewardship is the word for the year.
Faithful ones trade and multiply, they become rewarded. The stewardship thing is a big deal, especially once you have actually acquired something, right? It's more about preservation. Good job. Love it. Fobby, 2026.
Yeah, so I know that my word for 2026 is certainty.
Hmm.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. I am certain.
I
Lock
love
it.
you, buddy. I love this guy. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
And
had to. Fobby, I
Add
had
it
to.
in
I thought we
again.
bonded just for a
listen,
moment.
I mean, the thing is I want to take this moment also to actually thank Brad Lee because I never got to thank him for what he did for me in 2021. He may not remember me, but he unlocked something in 3 seconds that had been locked for 10 years
Wow.
and literally changed my life dynamically 180 degrees. And I didn't even know the impact it was going to have, Brad. When we met in Tampa at Christine Beckwith's thing, and you said what you said to me in the conversation, and it was like forward. Nothing has been the same since.
Brad, he
Well,
doesn't know, does he? He doesn't
what,
know. Brad has a
what did,
photographic memory. He doesn't forget anything.
Well, maybe.
what did I say?
So what it was
No,
I told you that,
literally, I good.
yeah, I'll share it. I said that I had lost about $3 million in a mortgage venture back in '08, and you said, okay, how much money have you lost thinking about it? And I was like, son of a bitch. Because for like, that had been my cross to bear for almost since 2008 to 2021. Like, you don't know the things I've seen, all the things have gone wrong in my life. Poor me. And then also it was just like I was given the freedom to move forward. It was my choice at that point. You literally said it's your choice, is what I heard.
Yeah, I'm somewhat of a brilliant man.
Hey, dude, it worked. It worked for me, brother, because then after that, I wrote my book called Falling Forward, which actually described the 2008 blunder, mistakes on the road to happiness, on the road, mishaps on the road to happiness. And then we did Leadership Matters with Barry Habib and Ginger Bell. That became an Amazon bestseller. and then I got Comp 30 coming out.
Wow.
Awesome. Well,
So
I'm glad I could contribute to that inspirational success story.
yeah,
When people tell me things, I just think in my mind, what would I be thinking in your shoes? And a lot of times you'll notice that people do that. They'll live in the past. And I don't know how I said it, but if I said it like you said it, that does sound like me. How much money have you lost thinking about that? Because we get so distracted with the worries of the past or the anxiety of the future that we basically lose the present. And ultimately when we tally up what happened, we spent another year worrying about, we spend so much time crying about wasted time that, like, it just a never-ending cycle.
yeah. No, I mean it was literally like, and also I think for me, I don't know about other people. I'm sure other people are like that, but this is my story, so feel bad for me. Kind of like that pity party dress, you know what I mean? Don't I look pretty in it? And at the end of the day, dude, it's like you got to take that dress off and move forward and stop. Like just and yeah, man, it's been incredible 4 or 5 years since then.
Good.
Beautiful. Thank you, Fobby.
Yeah, man.
Anthony, 2026, what's your word?
Uh, Before I get into it, Jay, I'm gonna be a little emotional with you too, dude. I love you, dude. When we met, dude, I saw the magic and the madness, dude, early on. So it was it was an interesting night that night, but we became friends instantly after that. So appreciate keep me involved and keeping in touch with me, and appreciate your friendship. And it's been a good 10 years, and we got many more ahead of us. So my
Beautiful.
word, there's a couple words that connected to it, but my word I have it written down here. It's enriching or enriched. Um, it's good finding the good things in unexpected or overlooked places, and trying to venture outside the comfort zone. You know, I can probably I'm going to make the assumption here, but with everybody being entrepreneurs and having their own thing going on, you're it takes a lot of effort to get into a place where you feel comfortable, and then when you get there, you get complacent. So at least I did, and it's something I'm working through that again. Yeah, I bought a business, got comfortable with it, and stopped being as aggressive as I used to be. So I had a baby and kind of got thrown in the mix, not to make an excuse for it, but so we're trying to get back out, get outside the comfort zone again. So requires discipline, which I think I have a lot of it, and I want to make sure I stay rooted because I have a lot of I am very disciplined. I am very kind of stuck in my ways in a lot of ways, in a lot of, yeah, I guess in a lot of ways. But I continue to try to grow quicker, faster, better. So kind of more than one word there, I guess, but enriching, and it goes along with being disciplined and being rooted.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anthony. And then Mr. Brad Lea, 2026, what is your word, sir?
Unrecognizable.
And we want everything to be unrecognizable. The bank account, the body,
Yeah,
get
everything.
an entire list.
Yeah, like when the year is over, I don't want my old self, like, to even be anything that people can remember. Like, when the year's over, my old self wouldn't even recognize who I
Mm,
became.
mm.
Because what most people do is they try to change their life without changing their identity, and it seems to have a little bit of an issue when you do that. We were just talking to someone the other day where I think their identity needs to change, and that's what's holding them back. So I don't want that. I want new results. Um, I want new action. Obviously, different actions bring different results. Too many people, they want new results with the old habits. They want new income with the old discipline. They want new peace with old thinking. And they want new confidence, but they're still negotiating with fear every day. And I'm telling you that for myself, that's a lie. You don't get a new life by wanting it. You get a new life by becoming someone who already lives there. So allow me to simplify it. If you want to be unrecognizable, you need daily, consistent proof. Every day you wake up, you have two options. Option A, protect the old you, which is comfort, excuses, tomorrow, next week, when things calm down, when I get a little more money, but that's the old you
Mm.
fighting to survive. Or option B, you can kill the old you. And not physically, obviously. I'm talking about the habits, the laziness, the weakness, the procrastination, the addiction to comfort, the need for approval, the fear of looking stupid, the voice that says, you know, better be careful. Who do you think you are? You might lose.
Hmm.
Chill out. And I think the way that you kill the old you is simple. You do one thing every single day that your old you would never do.
Mm.
One call you'd never make, one thing that even when you don't feel like doing it, one honest conversation that you've been avoiding, one piece of content where you tell straight up facts instead of trying to be liked and get views, one decision where you choose your future over feelings. Because 9 times out of 10, folks, feelings are emotions, and they tend to be liars. I think your excuses are thieves, and comfort is the most expensive drug on earth, and it
Hmm.
costs people their entire destiny. So at the end of 2026, I don't want to say I had a decent year. Okay. I want to say I became a different human being,
Hmm.
you
If I
know.
were able to look at an image of a well-defined Brad Lea in 12 months, what would that look like?
In which category?
Every category. I mean, what is the financial side of things? What is the physical side of things? Maybe what is the relationship and family side of things? Like, I think an individual like yourself is able to articulate extremely well and provides an example and a path for others to follow. Like, how vivid is that illustration? And then how well can some of us on the call potentially model after that today?
Well, again, I would think just, wake up every day and do something bold. Ultimately, live up to the potential that you were given. You know what I mean? Like if you guys are faith-based, which it sounds like a lot of you are, God made us. So God made you miraculously. And I think we do not live up to our potential. And so when you see somebody and it's like, oh, that's, same old Brad, same old guy, I've already started, chiseling away at the body part. I'm looking pretty decent. Jay's looking pretty decent using my method,
Yeah, the Brad Lee method.
the
I'm
Brad
I'm
Lee.
I'm the only one on it other than the real Brad Lee.
Yeah, the Brad Lee method works pretty well, but it's not just a physical thing or a financial thing or an emotional thing or a relationship thing. It's a total thing. Like I'm going to be unrecognizable in all aspects. You might see me and be like, "Well, you look better, but you look the same." It's not what I mean. I mean, I'm going to change. I think maybe the word should be change even.
Ooh.
But at the end of the day, here's what's crazy, if you ask me. I think the power that's within us all is overlooked by most, and it's so simple that most people don't understand that it's a power.
Mm.
And it's basically free will. We were given free will, so we have the free will to make choices, and the choices that we make literally determine the road that we take. So you can choose to wake up and dread going to work or going to work out or, facing the facts, and you can choose all day long. And those choices are implicitly responsible to everything that's going to happen to you. Where we are right now is based on the decisions we've made up till now.
Mhm.
So if you just make better choices throughout the year, like literally, I'm changing my word. Choices or choice. No one told me to prepare for this, so I don't know what the hell my word is. But I have the ability to change it. I have the choice to change it. I have free
Well,
will.
what I hear you saying is we are a product of our decisions.
Well,
Well,
no,
you're good.
just whenever Jay's around, it starts making me think out loud, and then I start thinking through the word, and I'm like, you know what? Choice is a better word, because what I really am going to do this year is make better choices.
Mm.
Because the power we all have is free will. And if you look up, like, what is the definition of free will? It's basically the ability to choose. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to be sad. You can choose to be pissed. You can choose anything you want to choose. No one can control your choices, not your wife, not your boss, not your circumstances, not your past. We choose. So I'm going to be more aware of the choices that I'm making on a minute by minute basis, and I'm going to strive to make all great choices in 2026. And I can't wait to see at the end of the year what that did, because in reality, I do believe that's everyone's superpower and it's untapped. And that's why when people say, you got to figure out what your superpower is. It's all the same. We're all the same. We all have the same superpower. I'm not talking about a talent. I'm talking about a superpower, and it is the ability to choose. And most of it are not aware of it, and we're not using it at all. And if we are using it, we're using it poorly. Getting depressed, allowing our body to go to shit, allowing our financial situations to get, dire. We're doing that by choice. We ruin relationships by choice. We go broke by choice. We get out of shape by choice. We do everything by choice. So if you ask me, the choice is the key. The choice is the power. And it boils down to free will. And coincidentally, that's what God gave us. And maybe he's sitting there laughing at most of us, because why can't they realize it's just a choice, man? And everyone knows how to make one. We just aren't aware that it's so damn powerful, that we're just fumbling through life making choices based on emotion, based on, feelings and all that crap. When in reality, like, if you really understood that, man, you want to be a billionaire, it's the choices you're about to make. And you started to just guarantee and promise yourself to just make good choices and not make choices, because a lot of people, they'll hear this and they'll get all nervous, and they won't want to make a bad choice, so they won't make any choice at all, which is a choice. So not choosing is a choice. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to get very good at making choices this year.
Yeah.
You're
Hey,
so
Mike, can I
damn
interject real
good
quick?
at
Hey,
the
Mike, let me,
articulation and the content.
Mike,
Fobby,
yeah, I
yeah,
got to
go
jump in
ahead.
real quick. What Brad is saying and what I'm hearing, right, is like what I've been talking about for almost 6 months. It's not about change, by the way, Brad. It's about uncovering what God, all the shit that I think I need to be, and that I
Mm.
become the person that God intended me to be in the first place. Because all my life I was like, oh, I got to wake up early. I got to do yoga. I got to eat vegan. I got to do avocados. No, no, no. Just fucking shut up and get rid of all the shit that I'm not. You know what I mean? And the more I get rid of the shit that I'm not, I become less and less weighty and less like making bad choices. I'm making better choices. It's like all the things that I ever wanted start to materialize. It's amazing. You know what I mean? Just because I've stopped chasing the new Fobby, I've started chasing just uncovering the Fobby that I think needs to go.
Yeah.
Brad, you're great at the content creation, the articulation of just even your I don't mean any disrespect, but the last rant, that was great. But if anyone on the call here said, I wanna put myself in the same game, shooting for the same target as a Brad Lea, like, what is a visual, whether it's the family, the finance, the fitness, like, what is the visual? I mean, are you and I doing 250 to 500 push-ups continuously on stage together side by side to see who gives up first, December of next
No.
year? What is it? What is the specific visual that anyone listening to, the podcast or on the call today can say, you know what, I want to be shooting for what Brad Lea is shooting for.
Well, I would say that's your first mistake. You should be shooting for what you want, not what I want or what you think you should want based on what I want. Although what I want is probably definitely desirable for all of you. However, most people think there's some sort of key to success, and I think it's more of a combination, and everyone has their own. So I could tell you what it is for me, but if you strive to do that, you could end up feeling the same way. Why? Because you didn't look inside. It's not about someone else's dreams. It's what do you want? And that's hard enough to figure out. You know, a lot of people think it's hard to get what you want. And
I
it's
agree.
to me, it's easy to get what you want. It's hard to figure out what it actually is. Because if you figure out what it is, which is the hard part, getting it's easy. Getting it is a matter of figuring out who's already got it and then do what they did. So if I'm like, hey, I want to, climb Mount Everest, well, then I'd probably, be able to do it by finding someone who's climbed Mount Everest a million times and do what they did. Have them teach me, have them go with me. So figuring out how to do it is not the hard part. The hard part is figuring out what to do because most people will start climbing Mount Everest. They'll get up to where the oxygen's a little bit thin, and they're thinking, "What in the hell did I do this for? Who was I trying to impress?" Oh, well, that's what Brad Lea said he was going to do. So now I'm climbing freaking mountains when I don't want to. I should have sat there for a moment and figured out, screw Brad Lea and what he wants. What do I want? So that's would be my advice. Don't go after what I want.
Isn't that the discovery moment?
But just to give you a picture, I've got several plans to basically grow and build an ecosystem that I spent the last year creating, which will open up a pathway for anybody willing to work. Okay, anybody willing to do the work. Because again, I can't make people choose and I can't make people do anything. I can only give them an opportunity. But I have an ecosystem that I want to open up to where at the end of 2026, if everything goes the way I plan and the choices that I make are all there, you will see me be known for someone who I would say created an opportunity and a pathway alternative to higher education that will make you more money than most people with a higher education.
Love it.
Because I think in order to succeed in life, guys, and you guys already know because you're entrepreneurs, you got to get in the position to receive commission, period. Like I don't know anybody or financially successful that isn't selling something to somebody. So therefore, you better be selling something to somebody. Now, whether it's your something or someone else's something, you better be selling something to somebody. And I think the first person you need to sell is yourself. And then once you get yourself sold, well, then all you have to do is get your mindset right, get your skill set right, and get your freaking habits right. And those things will govern everything else. So I'm putting together an ecosystem that when you come in one door, there's a pathway to success, 16 different doors. And at the end of the year, I mean, I already have money, so I'm not like, but I will have a lot more. But more than that, I think I will have a system that provides a real opportunity, no pun intended, for anyone willing to do the work to get to seven figures or better and become a better human being. Because again, just having money obviously does not make you a good human being.
Correct.
You got to be a good person. You got to have ethics and integrity. You have to, understand what I believe to be the basics. I learned something today that was pretty crazy. I got on a phone call, one of my sales guys for Lightspeed, which is a training software, said, "Hey, I'm trying to get this girl to do the deal and she won't do the deal. And, can you help me?" So I jump on the call. I'm asking her, "So what are you trying to teach?" She says, "Well, I'm trying to teach people how to heal their trauma and their pain and how to forgive people." And I said, "Oh, well, that's cool." I said, "Why do you want to do that?" And she said, "Well, because if you don't forgive people, you won't be forgiven."
Mm.
And I was thinking in my head, that's not true. Is that true? So I Googled it real quick, and sure as shit, in the Bible, God won't forgive you if you can't forgive others. So she's worried about everybody holding grudges and holding, internal pain and trauma from whatever happened, and she wants to teach people how to let go and heal that pain so they can forgive people, so they can be forgiven.
It's actually part of the Lord's Prayer. Forgive me as I've forgiven those who have sinned against me.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
yeah, I think now we're getting somewhere because just the fact that you shared that you had a plan and you're working on a thing and you've got a vision, there are a lot of people out there that have not invested, nor have they been potentially around in existence on the earth as long as some of us on the call have, and they have not invested in themselves the way you have. And I think the accelerant is modeling after those who are trying to achieve something similar that we believe in. So you've influenced a lot of the people on the call today, and you've also influenced a lot of the youth. I mean, you have a cool factor. There are individuals that want to know what you're thinking, what you're planning, and if there is something to model after. Like, that's why we went down that track. What I would actually be very curious in is hearing what maybe Benny, Fobby, Anthony, and Jay and Jenna, obviously, like let let's let them spit out their vision for what they want to accomplish for 2026, and then I'd love to hear your feedback on how we can help them.
Well, before they do, let me just take a little control here. I want to finish that story only because I was talking about being a good person. So turns out I asked her, what's her budget for this training system? I'm thinking in my head,
Mm.
well, I'll donate a little bit and help her. Why? Because she's basically, finds out she doesn't have any money. She basically said she's led by and driven by God. And she's in Mexico. She's a missionary and she's teaching people how to heal and so they can be forgiven. And so then she wants to go to Japan. She looked Japanese and she's going to do an audio book there and maybe that'll help because there's no technology and yada yada. Long story short, she had no money. She had no money. She doesn't know how she's going to pay for anything. She's just working completely by faith and that's it. And so once I found that out, and obviously I can't close her because she doesn't have any money, I asked her, what is your phone number? She gave me her phone number and I Zelled her some money. And then I felt sorry for the salesperson because like the salesperson's working so hard to make money and I give the money to the customer, which didn't make sense. So I gave the customer some money to get her to Japan. And then I gave the salesperson some money because she's been busting her ass. And I got off the phone and thought to myself, see, I wish everybody was like that. Like I got on there to close her and I got closed. But not because I'm a sucker, because I'm a good dude. And dude, everybody needs to be a good dude. Everybody needs to be a good person. It's not about just money. And whether I have a bunch or a little, I would have done the same thing. It just would have probably been less. So that's what I meant by this pathway. It's not just how to go make a bunch of money, how to become a better human being so we can live in a world that's ultimately more kind.
It's value, right? Providing value, creating value first, providing value, and giving people an opportunity to consume that value. And money ends up being an outcome a lot of the time, but it doesn't always have to be the primary outcome or driver. Benny, what are we shooting for in a sense of 2026? If you wanted to cast a little vision, and let's see how we can provide some value to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks. So I just to give you guys some context, I just sold my roofing company last year, and I've used most of 2025 to kind of get my bearings on like what do I want to do next. And I found that that industry was transformational for my life and learning how to become a better dude, right? Learning how to become a better human being. And I think it's through the people that help mentor me and shape my life. It's like I want to do that. I kind of want to give that back to others. And I found that I have a pretty cool skill set of being able to listen to other people. I think it kind of ties into what Brad was saying earlier about trying to extract that vision. I see things into the future. I usually can see things for other people that they can't even see. And I bring that up and they're like, wow. And it like pauses them and then they gotta like take a breath. And because they're so used to running and just chasing that next check, chasing that next thing in life. Maybe a lot of these guys I hang out with start 15 different businesses and I don't know why. Um, but it's trying to help people find that vision, right? So that way they can be free. And I love what Brad said about, having your own vision for your own life, because I chased other people's visions when I was in my 20s, when I was in my 30s, thinking like, oh, I want to be like them. And that really was not really good for me. Led me to, I overdosed on fentanyl in 2017. I should be dead right now. And I was chasing a lifestyle that was just not congruent with who I was. And so when I figured that out, what I wanted for my own life, and really it was just more time with my family. I wanted to be free. I want to be able to choose every morning, get up and do whatever I want to do. Not be, not have to chase what a customer wants me to do or what a vendor wants me to do or what my wife wants me to do. I want to be able to just get up every day and choose what God's adventure is for the day. And I think part of that in next year is going to be going deeper with visionaries and helping them really unpack and start to clarify what that looks like for their personal life. So then that way their businesses can align with where they're going. So that's kind of what I want to do. I kind of figured out Jesus rocked with 12 people. I feel like I can rock with 12 people next year. I feel like that's a good number. Keeps me kind of being able to move around and be able to spend good deep time with 12 people. I also have a podcast that I've been about 4 years in, so I'd love to, line up some, even more better, I guess, better guests to get more impact out there. I do shows only in person now, so it's kind of hard to do a lot of shows. Like I think Jay, what is this, your 2086th podcast or something like that?
of of the
I
year.
hundred. I don't know. You have a ton of podcasts.
It's 270 three for the year and 1000 and
Yeah, yeah,
60 68 or something.
yeah. Because of the whole computer thing, right?
Whatever, it's to each their own.
Yeah, no. I think that's awesome, and I've decided against all podcast gurus
501.
that I'm just going to do like maybe 20 episodes a year, because I love it. It's a passion project of mine. And so I want to do that as well. So
Well,
yeah,
Benny, it's not a bad idea because
Brad's
we just actually spoke with Kay Vaughn earlier today. He's got 30 on the plate. He's number one in the marketing category and number one in some other category as well. But he focused on quality over quantity, and there's an entire strategy behind like really making that thing
I would
score.
even take it deeper because he was really following the lead of vendors with their brand. If there's one person on this earth that I've talked to and I learned something from about the quality of a podcast, it's Brandon Lee,
Mm.
who I've never met anybody yet with that level of, so this is Brad's one of his sons. That level of intention and preparation and detail and obsessiveness around, and very few human beings. So shout out to Brandon. I talked to him a couple times about he was trying to get counsel for me, and I ended up learning all this shit. Not shit,
Brad,
but
can you drop some bombs for Benny?
Well, I would probably try to figure out how to get the 12 down to 10 because two of them weren't that good. I know one was detrimental. So
Touche.
you gotta have a
I
little adversity in your life, right? I mean,
He's making it
you
easy
gotta,
for you already, Benny.
well, I
You gotta
mean,
have the one bad
at
guy that
least
gets yours.
11, at least 11.
Right,
You didn't want, he
right.
shouldn't have had Judas.
Yeah.
Peter kind of, denied him, but the rest of them fled when he was arrested. They didn't necessarily were that bad. So I'd say maybe 11 at the most, you know,
I like that.
learn from his mistake.
Lesson from the good book.
It's a good
You
man.
only really needed Paul.
That's right.
Yeah, but when it comes to podcasting, my podcast is growing every year still, thankfully. And I think it's because I don't do what Brandon does. Brandon has always been like almost like OCD in a way, where like when he does something, he really cares about it. So like he loves, horror and you know Halloween and like weird stuff. But his podcast, I would agree. Like he edits that thing for hours and he studies who's coming and he has his questions and he's very methodical. And again, there's a place for that. The problem is that's him. He does that. You can't try to do that. You won't enjoy it. So my idea or advice to you would be, you know, enjoy it because that's how Jay does so many. Jay loves this shit. You think he's doing this many because he's a good worker? No, dude. He loves this shit. Who the hell would have 190 discussions on New Year's Eve?
That's what
Jay.
my wife just said.
Yeah, and I'm always wondering, like, how the hell's he get Mike Calhoun to join him? Like, dude, are you paying him?
Because
Like
I'm
this is
loyal and I love investing in some of the. I don't do this for everybody. Jay's just one lucky individual.
But
No, I love Jay.
my advice would be have fun with it because when people see you having fun and understand that it's fun for you, I think that authenticity comes out, resonates, and you attract better listeners, more engaged, fans, if you will. And I personally, I wouldn't get so worried about perfecting. I'd be worried about being authentic and having fun and enjoying it because then it'll last.
Mm.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
on the right track then because that's exactly
Wisdom.
the way I love to do it. Probably is the way your son loves to do it. I'm very intentional and I like the experience. And it's usually like a full day thing because we go to lunch. Sometimes the guests, if they come to Pittsburgh, they stay over at my
Oh,
house.
you're Joe Roganing this thing.
I mean, it's not a 3 hour
It's more,
podcast,
it's
but
more,
it's an experience. Like if people fly in, like we go pick them up at the
yeah, wow.
airport. Like
Wow.
it's an
It's
experience.
more serendipitous that they're just very
Fine,
similar
Benny, I'll
people.
be on it. Damn, dude, you don't have to convince me anymore. Listen, we got
Where
to
you live
move
at,
though.
Mike?
Anthony, listen. Thank you,
Skip.
Benny. I appreciate that.
That was
Anthony,
awesome.
if we wanted to cast a little vision for 2026, get some feedback from Brad and some of the others on the call today, what is it that you would want to share with us that we could digest and just be valuable to you?
Um, Back to what I was saying before about like just getting outside of my comfort zone again. I used to do it as a young little tyke, and then I got a little bit complacent, which I recognize. So I think I'm an engineer by degree, so being creative with some of the I do insurance. I have a commercial insurance business, so we're in the midst of creating some other products and whatnot that are unique to the industry. So doing some more creative things and being a little more aggressive with it is where I'd like to see myself by the end of this
Well, like
year.
what type of commercial insurance? Just so we can.
Well, I write a lot with physicians, medical practices, hospitals, anything in the healthcare space. But we do across the board, like benefits. We do life insurance and more. Uh,
Do you
life
have an
insurance
agent selling for
our
you?
life insurance gets utilized by wealthy people for reasons that the average person doesn't seem to understand. So we do stuff like that that's used in estate planning stuff, and then just if there's an insurance element to it, we do it. So that's I brought that into the business when I bought the business, it was only like liability insurance, property and casualty, and then I brought all the other stuff to the agency.
So if
Um,
we were aiming 36 months out and the next 12 months, 2026 was the thing that set the trajectory, like what are we doing? Where are we going? What do you need?
Positions, I mean, to buy other little agencies. You can listen, these things can be rolled up, they can be sold. I mean, private equity's out in this space. I'm dealing with like I bought this one. This was on the cusp of being looked at by private equity, but it wasn't may not have been big enough. So there's a lot of other ones out there like that I'd like to roll up and aggregate together and get us big enough that we could sell it. You know what I mean? So doing something like that, rolling out some new products, which I'm working on. I've had some private equity help look at that as well, and they're very interested in it because there's nothing out there in the market right now like it. So, yeah, just a couple different avenues of.
Well, you're playing a big boy game for sure. Brad, what do you think? How do we help Mr. Anthony?
Um, come back to me.
All right. Benny, Bobby, and even Jay from the acquisition standpoint and the M&As. Um, where's your head?
Well, as we close, I, w- I, I want to thank all of you again for coming on the show. I would like to acknowledge something actually. It's hard to do the hard numbers. I intend on doing it, but I think it's fitting to share this that uh I've been a guest on. I don't recall the third episode because it was so it was such a. I've been a guest on Dropping Bombs episode I believe 72 and 120, 72 and 120 and like 700 something. The 700 something one was the most, I would say, I think it's the best episode on the show's history because of how real it was. Definitely, I've been thinking about that conversation since it happened. So if like on a personal level, being on Dropping Bombs as a guest, it has been transformative, right? From a business standpoint, um, just napkin math, our companies had roughly a 50x return if we were to have, invested in some type of sponsor to be on the show. So I'd like to say that because it's true. We have client partners we've been working with, just one I could think of, for over 5 years, which originally saw who I was on episode 70. I think it's 78, not 76. When I was on there, manically hyperbolizing culture, I was a I was essentially the, you know, biological version of the woman in Mexico coming out of a failed partnership,
Hmm.
forgiving people, because that's one of the things that helps founders build the C-suites is to forgive their enemies so they could attract better talent. Even if we use different words, and this guy invested, he didn't charge for it. We did a trade for a platform. We have a very successful business today, and part of that is because I was on that show, 78, 120. People saw me on that the way Ant saw me 10 years ago. Now, of course, choice, right? I chose to follow up with those people. I chose to, work with my wife to ask for the business because she's a good closer. And we chose to continue to invest back in the relationships. And one of them was on today. All right. Christopher Vester, he's at 10 a.m. His family's changed our life. We worked in for many years and he listened to Drop Bombs. But so I want to acknowledge that it's a highly valuable experience that has happened just consequentially because of a relationship that has been 50x easily. Real numbers, real numbers. Why? Because I needed to get in front of people and I needed somebody that had credibility to shine a light on things that now today people invest in much more easily. So I want to say, I don't want to say it,
Oh,
but
Reagan was talking about his experience on the
Reagan
Dropping
was.
Bombs podcast, and he was saying it took him 2 months to clear out all the inbound texts. He gave his phone number out on the podcast, and he's like,
Yeah. And
"Last time I
Brad
do
talked
that,
about he said, also I just want to acknowledge that genius because to go from scale to unrecognizable to action to scale to unrecognizable to choice. It's like when you go to Lightspeed and you see all those books, well, you got to understand, like when you go to the office, when you see all those are books that people gave to him that are mailing them and stuff. You got to understand like the amount of wisdom. It's
Jay,
like
you told me they read them to him."
it's like going to a library and well, you got to understand people don't fully get it yet. Like when you go there, you're going to like I'll use this loosely metaphor. You're going to like the Israel of the self-help. You're literally going to the fucking epicenter of self-help because why there's all this wisdom is all of that is in his body, from almost 30 years of being around all these geniuses. And
Jay,
I'm telling
before
you, we've benefited from it. Now I know we have to go in 2 minutes, but it needs to be
before you
said at
snip
some point
this,
by
I do
somebody.
have two questions. Number one,
And that's all I have to say. I don't want to say anything about us. We're
three,
showing that. But go ahead, Mike.
three,
Yeah.
three questions. Anthony, um, I think I can help you. I'd love to interview you and ask you some more questions. We definitely have some very large players in that space. Brad, if there's any interest in integrating a lot of your content, if not all of it, into the smart TV system where you would actually be an available app that travels through the ISPs of every major metro in America, where when somebody puts a smart TV on their wall, they're able to consume your content through a channel. I actually have been working on that relationship for the last 2 years, and it's coming to solidification Monday. So if that can help you, love to be valuable. Benny, you sold me on the podcast, dude. I'm like trying to just hang out with you and have a good time. Fobby, would love to be valuable to you as well. Guys, he's going to cut this thing on us in like probably 60 seconds. Jay, what are we doing to put a bow on this?
I guess the end of that was, and yeah, maybe it's about getting in front of people that can appreciate you. Your engineering level of capabilities. Thank you everybody for coming on the Culture Matters podcast. If you're listening to this is, well, they all need to be listened to more than once, but share this with someone you care about. Please leave us a review on the Culture Matters podcast. We don't want to have to build this show the hard way. I read that book 3 or 4 times. I'd like to build it the easy way. So can you please give me a review?
Well, the best way to be on it, Jay, if you weren't on the episode, you can still be on it by leaving a review.
If you weren't on the episode, you can still be on it by leaving a review. I ask all of you. I have to
That's
figure out
how
a
I
way
get
to,
on
like,
it
ask you
twice,
guys for
Jay.
reviews. And yeah, we'll see you next year when we go 24 hours straight like a telethon. So we got to beat it next year. We still got 3 more. If anybody wants to stick around, we got 7, 8, 9. Jen and I are closing it out. Mike and Bruni are going to start dancing and enjoying life. Brad's going to go
Yeah, Bruni
party.
throwing darts at me now.
You guys
Next.
have a great New Year's Eve. Benny, you're more than welcome. I'll do an email intro and you guys can come to the next one if you'd like. And
Jay, can I say one thing?
yeah, of course, yes.
You and I know people don't know about our relationship, but I feel like I've had a front row relationship ever since we had that little awkward moment at the Pittsburgh Penguins luxury booth till all the way to today. I will tell you, I've seen real growth inside of you. I've seen real maturity. I've seen like you're still the same intensity, but you just feel like that you have a little bit more calmness about you. And I really
More
feel
controlled.
it's like so like, dude, I think it's Jenna. Since she's getting closer to God, I think it's wearing off on you. And I really can see that. And I really appreciate that about you because you've come a long way, brother.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Well
All
said.
right.
What a great compliment.
Hey, Brad, we have a mutual friend, by the way, Lance.
Oh, Bachman?
Yeah.
Oh, you know Bachman too, Mark? I know. I was at that conference.
Oh, really, down in Florida, Marco Island?
Yeah. Brad was there. I got the
I
same.
know, I've known him for a long. I've known him since we were younger.
That's a whole nother
years ago.
podcast. Then you should tell us all about.
I'm in his near. Like he lives probably like 20 minutes from me.
Oh, you're in Philly?
Yeah, we're all in the Philadelphia area.
Oh, all right. I'm in Pittsburgh, but yeah, that's
Go
cool, man.
Birds.
Lance is a good dude.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I've known him for a while. He's obviously done a lot. He's done a lot very recently, but he's a hell of an entrepreneur. I'll tell you that much.
That's a high energy guy, man. High energy.
Oh, high energy, man. He is.
Makes the rest of us look like we're going in slow motion.
Yeah, he's like intense. He's definitely intense.
Yeah, he still doesn't know what Jay does for a living, just so you know.
Listen to the last podcast. He knows.
I hired Jay, not even
How was he
knowing
on
what
it?
we were doing. But it was the best thing I ever did.
Lance is like, I have no idea what Jay does, but I love talking to him.
Throws up in his house to work out in the morning. That's what happens.
Oh, you got naked with him in the steam in the sauna? Oh yeah.
This is where we end the show.
All right, sorry, Jay.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New
Happy New Year,
Appreciate
everybody.
Jay.
Everybody's gonna
Thank
know
you
what
all.
Culture Matters does this year. That's gonna be
Great,
whatever.
great
There we
seeing you guys.
go. Good.
Beautiful.
Cool.
See you.
All right, guys. God bless. I'll see you. Happy New Year.